No one saw it coming. Certainly not North Smithfield couple Bob and Mary Ann Retenny. They were inside Lynch Arena in Pawtucket Monday afternoon to support their son on his senior day.
And then all of a sudden,
I'm having some control.
There we go. Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip, and CJ's having technical difficulties here.
Yep, I'm having control issues, so if things stop moving slow, that's why.
But he's back, I think.
I'm here.
Okay. Well, hello, guys. We're on. I guess the internet's not doing too well today, although mine hasn't screwed up completely, but it's been a little slow. I know that. I don't know. But there it is. It is Wednesday in the Rev, and we're off to the races. I guess clean up on aisle 12. We did get a few calls. CJ got some, I got some about. We were talking about the tirade of Shelley Pereira, and somebody corrected her and said that when she said school committeeman Monis was fired, he resigned, and rather than get into the weeds, why he resigned because he didn't get along with Kenny or whatever, but he was not fired. So we're gonna the accurate thing was he did resign from that. So, but the character assassination is irrelevant. Because what they do is lie all the time. They just
and from what I was told, Monis resigned because he wanted to do the job the right way, and he got into headbutting with Ken Pacheco because Ken Pacheco wanted it done his way, which I guess is not necessarily the right way.
Yeah, now I'm buffering. You gave me the disease. I have to, but yeah, we're having a little technical difficulty, guys. Yeah, they're not gonna get We Suck Even More at radio. I guess that's off the table too. But now CJ's buffering. We're taking turns. Hi, Colin. We're gonna talk about that if we can ever get this thing to work. Yeah. So I guess We Suck is gonna be just We Suck at radio again, not We Suck More Than Ever at radio. The details.
I'm not even showing Colin on the system.
Oh well, Colin said hello, everyone, and I got James here. Turns out Cliff and Michael on a choir. We suck even more at radio. Yeah, I guess that's the case, but we know that we suck even more at radio or whatever it was. They allowed her to character assassinate, so it is what it is. But Colin's on. Actually, last show we talked about the healthcare. Colin and Kevin Aguiar and I had a meeting. I think it was a very productive meeting. I think that the problem is that a lot of people do not understand that the healthcare is a separate entity. It is a group. What Colin and Kevin are talking about is a bookkeeping thing, is a bookkeeping issue, because they have to comply with certain things. And if I'm getting it a little wrong, Colin, you can feel free to interject. they have to put it in their budget, and they were looking for numbers that have to be put in their budget, and they can't do gross, they have to do net. It's something that's in the net school spending laws, which I will be the first one to say I'm not that familiar with. And now we're all gone. I'm not that familiar with, but I think everybody left the meeting. They understood the fact that, you know, this is strictly paperwork stuff. The plan itself is a group. Everybody understands that. The pharmaceuticals can't be carved out or anything like that. But what they pay, their share, is a bookkeeping issue that they apparently don't agree with the way the city has given them the numbers, and they're arguing over that, which is fine, as long as everybody understands that, because a lot of people begin, and I get calls, because people begin to think about their health care is in jeopardy. Because when we start this kind of dialogue and people have no idea, they think something about, I got school teachers calling me saying, is this going to affect my health care plan? They're saying we're running out of money. And, we're over budget. You're not over budget. It's a group. You're over what they put in the budget, but you're in the group. Nobody had to pay more. It's obviously bookkeeping issues, and that's therein lies. But it was a productive meeting, and it's nice to have people who are on a school committee. It's nice to have people on a school committee who are willing to sit down and talk. Say we straighten this out, and that there's a lot of miscommunication, and it blows back on them and it blows back on us, because people get all in a dither because they think that their health care is in jeopardy. This is not going to affect the health care plan. It's a group. Everybody, we walked out of the meeting and it was fine. Now they have to argue with the city on how they do it. That's not got nothing to do with me. And it was it was a good meeting, and it's nice to be able to do that. If you disagree, or if there's a miscommunication, and I don't know if we're coming through again. I don't know if we're coming through. It's nice to know if you have people who reach out and say, well, you want to sit down and talk to me if there seems to be a miscommunication or we misunderstand that. And listen, I'm the first guy, and Carl will tell you, I didn't try to tell them what they had to do to satisfy that requirement. We were just there to kind of get something in perspective, and I think it was very productive, because now everybody understands it, and they can put it in context again. So they're not I don't have people calling me saying, is healthcare in jeopardy, or am I going to have to pay more? No, it's not. So it was good, and it was also nice to be able to sit down across the table and have a discussion.
Well, that's good. That's good. James, Paul already endorsed Maura Healey. To quote him, it's just not smart to change horses mid-race. And he said that at the Boston Bakery. So that's already done. We knew he was going to kiss her ass and lick her snatch and do all that stuff.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, for the guys running the recall, I don't know who they are, the people who are running the recall, I heard you put out some stuff about it, like we had Flanagan Shenanigans. I have come up with a name. You don't have to take it, but we liked Flanagan Shenanigans. It kind of had a rhyme to it. So I'm going to suggest the name. Paul's Prevarications.
There you
Double
go.
P. So that means he lies his ass off in layman's terms. So these are Paul's lies or misrepresentations. So if you want to entitle that thing that we called our Flanagan Shenanigans, your list of what Paul's lied about or misrepresented, you could. My suggestion is Paul's Prevarications. Half the people who read it won't know what the word is, but they can look it up. It's good for their vocabulary. So, yeah, and I guess a lot of talk obviously is going on about what happened in Pawtucket. It was a horrifying experience, and I actually had some people that I know that were in. I didn't know it till until recently, that were actually in the hockey rink, only a few feet away from where the stuff happened, and they were there to watch the game because someone they knew was playing in the game, and it's very disconcerting. And we get back to this stuff that the media.
Paul addressed that. Paul addressed that, by the way. He said that Fall River sports are very safe. If you want to enter a basketball game at Durfee High School, you have to go through a metal detector. You must go through a medical detector. Even I have to go through the metal detector. I don't know about hockey, but at hockey, what it used to be was an administrator used to have to be present at every hockey game, and they had to sign in and sign out. I don't know if they're still doing that, but that's the way it was when I was an administrator.
Well,
and our programs are safe because Fall River's safe.
Listen, you can't ever say anything's safe.
That's
because
right.
The reality is anybody who's ever been in any kind of the police or anybody that's been in the military, like I do, know one thing. There's a very, very simple thing that says if somebody is willing to die, they can manifest a terrorist attack. This guy was cuckoo, obviously, and metal detectors. I hate to tell you this, Paul, but they have guns that can beat the metal detectors. They can make them on 3D printers.
They're called ghost guns.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're called. They're called ghost guns for a reason. But the thing is that and not only that, you don't need to go there and shoot up the arena. You can go on. You can go on the internet and find out how to build a bomb.
With what's under your sink.
This is the problem with the society today. Everything is too accessible. I've got my old Special Forces handbook over there. I've got the recipe to make napalm. You can actually go online and get it now. Well, she's got my vote. She's got my vote just by the fact that she's willing to take on these clowns. She's got it. But it was a tragedy over there, and it's bringing up a lot of debate now about these Democrats who have encouraged a lot of this stuff and encouraged children and actually said that parents can't stop children from having body parts taken off before they're, you can't even, you can't buy a pack of cigarettes. You can't vote. You really don't, your brain's not, you don't have enough life experience to make decisions like that. But the Democrats don't care because that was a voting base. And they just said that. And then they told the parents, if you don't let them do it, they're going to commit suicide. Well, obviously, we've seen 4 or 5 or 6 recent shootings from transgenders. I'm not saying they're all nuts, but the fact is, if you have a problem, you've got a psychological issue. Before you let somebody start cutting off body parts, there should be a mandatory psychological examination. But the Democrats don't care. And the mainstream media really won't push this. Although this one they did. Because I got to say, he was transitioning into a woman, but he had a long way to go. I saw his picture. I saw the picture on TV. Yeah, I'll tell you what, it wasn't working.
No, it wasn't. No, that's for sure. And it had a job at Electric Boat in Bath, Maine, making nuclear subs. How's that for a security risk? It, whatever. And James, the person who committed the double stabbing, is being held. She's not out on bail. She's being held pending a dangerousness hearing.
Yeah. Look, Paul says everything's safe because nobody ever sees Paul. They see Paul at the New Boston Bakery because that's where he hangs out, and he goes there for photo ops and stuff.
That's
so he endorsed Maura. Maura's going to endorse, Yeah, that's putting it mildly, Jeff. Yeah. I mean, that's something that we used to say that, she's so ugly, she's got to sneak up on a glass of water. So, but yeah, but it was a tragedy. I mean, it's hard. I saw the interview with some of the people who tried to restrain him, and they did stop him from shooting other people. But I guess he got the other gun out and shot himself with his second gun. So, but Paul, he is the master of dismissing everything. You only got one bullet in your house, Josh. Stop making a big deal out of this. Not everybody's got a bullet hole in their house. In Paul's world, everybody's got to get shot to have a problem. Everybody's got to have a hole in their house before we got a problem.
No, you got to have a hole in you for it to count as a shooting.
That's right. If you don't have a hole in you can't complain.
That's right.
See, if somebody took 6 shots at you, CJ, and missed them all, Paul will tell you, what are you complaining about? You didn't get hit.
That's right.
And so it's crazyville. This is crazy, and I'm glad it seems like they're serious about putting things together about him, and it's good. Really. Well, yeah, obviously all those people have, and the people that were there are going to be traumatized for a while. I mean, most people today have not been in a place where there's people when there are bullets flying around. It's a very disconcerting position to be in, especially when you can't.
That's, Jimmy, that guy's named Black, isn't it? Isn't that guy's name Black?
Yeah, the guy Black. He held a slide back. So if you guys that don't know anything about guns, the slide, when you fire the slide, it ejects the shell. It comes back. It allows the next shell to come up into the thing. And if you jam the slide, you can't. The weapon's basically inoperative. So you got it. And if you don't know how, the first time you shoot a pistol, if you don't know it, you got your finger up there. The slide will really do a tune on you, cut you, and stuff. So yeah, that's. He had no choice, but I mean, apparently he knew a little bit about what he had to do, because most people really wouldn't know that. If you can grab the slide and stop it, it's not going to be able to chamber another round. So you basically render it inoperative.
Right.
But that's the key. The key is like now everybody's saying, put up metal detectors, this is the great Monday one. Look, they have ghost guns. They have, you can bring in, you can bring in a bomb and blow the place up. I mean, they've had explosions in Europe in different clubs. It wasn't just a shooting incident. It was they brought in bombs. Listen, the bottom line is, if somebody is crazy enough to be willing to go in there and give his life to commit a terrorist act, they're going to probably commit the terrorist act.
Yeah, they're going to do it.
Yeah.
That's simple. Hey, James had brought up the fact about the SAVE Act. I want to remind people that in 1996, Chuck Schumer was all for voter ID.
Oh, yeah.
And he cited everything that you need an ID for. Now, all of a sudden, in 2026, he's not for voter ID.
Illegal to vote. Yep, they want all the illegals. Yeah, I saw the video of Schumer saying, "Hey, what's everybody making? You got to show a social security card, a driver's license for everything you do. It's not a big deal." But the Democrats are desperate. I mean, they have no policy on anything except tax and get rich for themselves.
Just look at Paul.
Yeah.
Just look at Paul.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. Tax and spend. And screw the people, and it's like, and then they lie about everything. It's like, okay, now all of a sudden, they insult women and minorities and saying that, like, women can't get an ID. Really? How many women do you know that drive? Virtually all of them. So they've got a driver's license.
That's right.
Yeah, how many women do you see on airplanes? Obviously, they've got an ID. How many minorities do you see on airplanes or driving vehicles? I mean, this is the biggest crock of bull you could ever imagine. That these people are so ridiculous. Imagine the retards that actually believe them. How can anybody be this dumb that you're denying people a right to vote by having them prove that they have the right to vote?
Right.
That's, I mean, that's a, talk about a contradiction. I mean, that's absurd. And like you said, they can pull archival video of all these people taking the exact opposite position when they were in power. So they're all full of crap. But if you want to see something that's really kind of inspiring, get on YouTube and watch watch Rubio's speech at the Munich. In Munich. It was a really great speech. I'll tell you what, he really laid it out. He talked about nationalism. He talked about how Europe, we will always be, there, basically a child of Europe. He talked about how Europe basically is responsible for everything that really moved forward in the world. I mean, if you look at all the great inventors and all the great painters, most of them, and not that they're not some other, but the majority of these people, they were the ones that went out and, you had who discovered America, Columbus, who went around Cape Horn. We've got the statue of Prince Henry right here. They went out and they brought a higher level of civilization to most of the world. And he said, don't be ashamed of that. Don't allow these people to invade you and not make you proud of your country. Nationalism was the basic foundation of why these countries always prospered. They have to be proud of their nation. That's why the Democrats are trying to destroy that by always disparaging the country. The fact is that Western civilization is fundamentally the civilization that's responsible for bringing most of the things that put us where we are, the Industrial Revolution and stuff like this, all came from fundamentally Western society. And he said, don't be ashamed of that. Don't allow these people to invade your country and make you hate your country and destroy your culture. And it was a great speech. He got three standing ovations during the speech from the Europeans. He told them, don't be ashamed. He said, don't be ashamed. We've had differences. Your Western Europe was basically wiped out in 2 world wars and it rebuilt itself and stuff. Be proud of your heritage, but we got to move forward by remembering that we should work together and we should all be proud of our nations and our heritage. And on the end of, and so we look at the 250th anniversary of America, that speech was very, very profound, and it was great. And it's on YouTube. I think the entire speech is like 20 some minutes. There's a 15-minute version, but it's really good. Yeah, Jesse Jackson passed away. That's true. Yeah, he was 84?
Yes.
I think he was 84.
Well, I want to speak about something, if I can get a word in edgewise here. I want to speak about the community preservation assholes.
Oh, here we go. Yep. And tell us how much they spent on a night owl, CJ.
On the night owl. According to reports, unconfirmed, $500,000. $500,000 on the night owl. And the owner of the night owl has determined that it cannot be a full-service restaurant. It can be takeout only. Imagine that. Can't even be counter service. Takeout only.
Yeah. You know how long that's going to last? They're going to give him $500,000 and they'll probably put $100,000 in there to band-aid it, and they'll keep the 400. They'll keep the 400 million. And I want to know what Cooganite got that through the
Yeah,
CPA.
the other thing is, according to their owner, when he went in the building for the first time, supposedly the first time, he found that the building had been broken into. And
Josh
everything
said they didn't get
was
the money.
stolen.
Josh said they didn't get the money.
Some lady in one of the posts said they didn't get the money. Oh, that must be Kristen Contera. Was that where I said that they got $500,000? Kristen Contera would know because she's on the Community Preservation of Assholes.
Listen, the Night Owl is unfortunately an anachronism. It will never ever be successful in Fall
That's
River
right.
again, because the Night Owl flourished when I was a kid. When I used to ride dinosaurs to work. But everybody in the Fall River worked 3 shifts. All the mills, a lot of Doro finishing was on 3 shifts. All the finishing plants were on 3 shifts. You had people out going to work, and they used to stop at the Night Owl and grab something on the way to work, on the way back from work in the second shift, on the way to the second shift, on the way to the third shift, on the way back from the third shift. Yeah, and you could go in there. There was no seating. You had counter seating. They had a counter that went around. I had a lot of hot cheeseburgers and stuff at the Night Owl because I lived in a Flint my whole life, so I ate there a lot. But it was a place you went in, grabbed a quick bite, and left. There's not a lot of seating. You're not going to make a lot of money. But it was there because it had constant traffic. There was people there at 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. That doesn't happen anymore.
Right. Josh.
And the Flint had every store working. Every storefront in the Flint was full.
That Chris Cantera, who replied to my saying that they got the money, she said the Night Owl did not receive any money. And she justified the Waterfront Cultural Commission, or whatever they call themselves, getting money. That's Sandy and Dave Dennis, by the way, getting the money because they're trying to preserve historic places on the waterfront. That's my tax dollars. And she said, if you have a problem, show up at the meetings and speak in opposition to these projects. Let me tell you something, Miss Cantera. If I could get to the meetings, I would be there. I'm not. I don't even get out to buy my own groceries. So stick that in your pipe and smoke it.
What? You broke up a little bit. I didn't get most of that. But
I said stick that in your pipe and smoke it.
But Boomer's talking about the potential, and you're right, Boomer. I totally agree. Isn't it amazing that the President of the United States wants to bring manufacturing, and that was part of Rubio's speech. We deindustrialized. The entire Western Hemisphere deindustrialized and farmed out all their manufacturing and lost all those jobs and destroyed our country. And who did that? The Democrats. Now we have a president who wants to push manufacturing. If we had somebody on the right, and I'm going to give Paul the right team, you know how much money we could get infused into this city to bring manufacturing back to this city? A lot. But see, we're on the Bad News Bears team. That's what we're on. We got Cabbage Patch Healy, our governor, wanting to take care of all the illegals, hide them all, feed them all, stick them all in the market rate housing. And, you know, it's all they know how to do is tax and spend. You ask them to reduce your sales tax, right there. More is like, get the axe out. You put that one in jail. We're not reducing by 1%. You're crazy. You people are nuts. Oh, we can't give you a break on a sales tax. We can't give you a break on anything. We're just going to keep taxing you. Maura wants to get rid of 2.5. Maura wants to let people waive anything they want and charge you as much as you want. And then she says, oh, I'm for the regular people. Yeah, sure you are. Sure you are. I mean, we're on the wrong team. You're right. We have leadership in this country that wants to reindustrialize this country. And I hate to tell them that, but this is the kind of work that Fall River can do. We don't have a lot of PhDs here working in labs up in Boston, but we can get people to work in factories. This city's basic staple was manufacturing. We were one of the biggest cities during the Industrial Revolution. We had 165,000 people at one time. That's how big Fall River was. But they don't care. They don't even think about that. All the Democrats want to do is get power. They're going to tell you, we're going to give money to the illegals, not get voter ID so they can vote, try to get back in power. Then we're going to just keep taxing you, and we're going to not do anything for you. Yeah, well, you know what's fiscally irresponsible, James?
Spending $300 million
on illegals.
Yes.
That's what's fiscally irresponsible.
That's right.
I hate to tell her that, but you know something? I don't want them stuffing illegals in all the market rate housing in Fall River and New Bedford, which they're doing. I mean, sometimes I go in a market, I think I'm in Nigeria.
Well, you know what's funny? This is funny. According to Maura Healey, because of the ICE situation in the country, and more particularly in Massachusetts has lost out on a lot of immigrants coming to Massachusetts. So they don't have the people to do the work.
That is the most ridiculous statement I've ever heard in my life. And
I know.
What are they doing? They're getting free food, free hotels, free motor scooters. They're not doing shit. They're not working. What are they doing? Are they picking grapes on Beacon Street in Boston? What the hell are they doing?
I don't know.
What are they doing in Fall River? What you want is slave labor. Even the ones who do work are hurting the American economy because they're fundamentally semi-slave labor. It's absurd. I mean, look, the Democrats make no sense. If you listen to what they say, they have no agenda to infuse this economy with anything for the average American. It's all about breaking everybody up by whatever.
Paul and John Mitchell said that they have a plan with Maura Healey. They exist, quote unquote. They exist on the financial input, the financial frenzy, the infrastructure money, the public safety money, the schools money. Without that money, the cities won't move forward. And right now, Fall River is moving forward.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, there you go again with the lies. Because listen, I don't know where they're going to get the money, except Maura Healey says they need taxes and more of our money.
Right.
But they're building the infrastructure for the illegals. They're the ones getting free everything. We get nothing. They're talking about what have we gotten? What have we gotten from the Democratic Party here? What has Maura Healey done for Fall River? How much affordable housing do we have? Virtually none. You had Somerset build more affordable housing with 18,000 people in Somerset than we do in Fall River with 90,000 plus. I mean, this is a sham. Everything they say is a lie. If you listen to them, if their lips are moving, they're lying.
Well, the really interesting thing is, she says that wind energy is vital to Massachusetts' economy because of all the jobs that it creates.
That's bullshit.
It is bullshit because a report by Mass Fiscal says that wind energy is the biggest drain on the Massachusetts taxpayer because it is subsidized with Massachusetts tax dollars, because even the federal government has cut them off.
Listen, green energy destroyed an entire nation. They've destroyed nations overseas with green energy. It's unsustainable. The reason they love green energy is they all got stocks in it.
Right, and not only that, but solar energy. They need thousands of acres of land to create solar fields. So what they decided to do is to put those solar fields over farmland. This way, the crops can still be harvested and the animals can still graze. No, they can't, because of the leaching from the solar panels. Makes the land and the vegetation poison.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, you can't dispose of them easily. But James, Maura Healey doesn't know what affordable housing is. She thinks HDIP and workforce housing is, because she's rich, she's insulated from reality, and she listens to these people that are talking. They have no idea what affordable housing is. If you ask Maura Healey what the per capita income in Fall River is, ask her what the rents are. She has no freaking idea. She's going to listen to politicians that say, "Oh, we're going to give you HDIP housing and workforce housing, and that's going to see we're helping the South Coast." You're not helping the South Coast, because
you're not. You're hurting us.
I'll tell you what. I will bet anybody $100 right now, if you can get her on a line right now, I'll bet you $1,000. Get her on a line right now without telling her what the question's going to be, and let me ask her a question about the various levels of types of housing, and I'll bet you she can't answer one question. I can guarantee you she does not know what the minimum income level and the maximum income is for workforce housing in Fall River, in the Fall River, Greater Fall River area, because it's based on a geographic area, not a city. I guarantee you she has no freaking idea. They're all full of shit. They're all like Paul. They're all bullshitters. Paul didn't kiss the Blarney Stone. He swallowed it.
He took it rectally.
That's right. He went to Ireland, stole it, and swallowed it. He said he's so full of it. Right? Nothing he says has any similarity to accuracy or fact. It's either a lie or a misrepresentation or a distortion of fact. Let's go back to before he became mayor. You guys aren't going to pay a dime for this school by the time it's due. It's going to be paid for. Oh, yeah, well, I'm going to give you a tax break in my first term. I'm going to give you a tax break in your second term. I mean, the guy can't, the guy is full of shit. And every time he gets pressed on anything, what does he say? I'm a vice principal. You can't expect me to know that. No, you're not a vice principal. You've been the mayor for 6 years, and you don't have a clue. But look at that last school committee meeting when he didn't want, I believe it was Colin, to ask a question of somebody to put in citizens input. Then they said, you can't do that. Of course you can. You go to the city council. If you give citizens input, city councilors always ask you if they have a question. They don't ask me because they don't want to give us any more time or you. But they will ask questions. And then Kevin said, I think we can. I'll make a motion. And then Paul, in his infinite stupidity, showing on camera again that he doesn't know a freaking thing about parliamentary procedure, he turns around and then tells Kevin, oh, you don't need a motion for that. In other words, just do it. What the? Yeah, I mean, oh, great. I mean, Paul, just please get an avatar. Plug it into a freaking AI that knows something about parliamentary procedure. Every time you're at a meeting and there's something that has to be done by a chair officer, you fuck it up. Because you don't have a clue. You can't do that. Well, I hate to tell you this, but it's a violation of the Constitution. You can't stop. It's germane to the agenda. Somebody came up there, they talked about something that was on the agenda. If a school committee person wants to ask a question, of course they can ask a question. Collins already won one suit from the ACLU. They'll file another one. And then you got Kevin saying now that he's a vice chair, well, I think we should be able to. Okay, you can do it then. What is this? A club meeting? Is this like the poker club or something like that? There's no rules. This is a meeting, a public meeting. You have rules. I believe you guys use Robert's rules. You don't use
right. They use Robert's rules.
But I believe they use Robert's over there.
Right.
And we know Robert's rules inside out. But I mean, every time there's something like this, he shows what an absolute imbecile he is. He just doesn't have a clue. And he doesn't even make an attempt to learn anything. He's been in that job for 6 years. He's not better at anything. Nobody even sees him now in this term. He's just laying low. Only time he comes out of hiding is when there's a politician down here. Maura came, Cabbage Patch, and Paulie, the prevaricator. Well, now there you go. They'll be on the news tonight. Oh, Governor Healy was down here.
No, actually, she was down here the day of the shooting in Pawtucket. And what they did was they preempted Paul and Maura from appearing on the news.
No, there was a guy. See, there was a guy.
Even Maura appeared on the news.
See, even God's sick of him. He preempted him. Let's see. Yeah. No, you're right, James. I love the House of Commons. Although I saw a couple of really, they had a major fight between two women in Mexico, but I saw a better one. I saw a video of a fight in the Turkish parliament. It was it got pretty physical, I'll tell you. So it was like, but I mean, this is the thing. They're just, look, they're a bunch of talking heads. All they do is politics. The Democrats are now, everything they're doing is trying to take over at the midterms or get 28, get back in power. They don't care who they kill, how many people get disfigured. They're gonna pander to their base. Where Rubio's speech talked about, we all came here. He talked about how his parents, some was from Serbia, I believe, the other one from Spain. They came here and blah, 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 and he's the result here and everything else. But talked about nationalism and love of the country. And these people try to divide and conquer everybody. They have to categorize everybody by religion, color, political party, or whatever, eye color, you name it. They'll find something to separate you. And then everything that they're doing right now, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, you can find a video of them being in the exact opposite position that they're taking now. So, I mean, they're all full of crap. Yeah, and Maura Healey only knows how to do one thing: tax working people. That's why there are people still leaving Massachusetts that can. At one time, we were losing 1,000 a month from Massachusetts. I think now the new stat, California, and they've already lost hundreds of thousands of people because it's so bad. I think they said every 2 minutes somebody's leaving California now to go to another state. And I mean, these states are just broke the strap.
I guess somebody's competing for Stevie B's position.
Josh, yeah, I don't know. I would have loved to seen I'd love to see the shots they're going to use for their campaign. And then the sad part about it is that Maura really doesn't care. You'd think she'd do one iota of research about what the wages are in Fall River, how we're doing. No, she takes Paul's word. Oh, everything's fine. We got great housing here. We're building all kinds of housing. Yeah, that nobody can afford. You know, I mean, it's a tragedy. I mean, I went down to Walgreens the other day to pick up a prescription. I had some homeless person walk up to my window and ask me for money. And it's like, you know, yeah, of course, everybody can afford the rents. The rents are going down throughout the country, and but they're still staying
Going up in Fall River.
Fall River.
Rents in the country have gone down, what was it, 3%, 6%? Something like that?
What's that?
Across the country, but not in Massachusetts.
No, it's going down. Yeah, it's gone down. I forgot what the percentage was, but it's going down nationwide. But Massachusetts, you can't, because this is what they do. Maura goes, you can't reduce any taxes in Massachusetts. That would be fiscally irresponsible. No, what would be fiscally responsible would be get your budget so we're only paying for what we need, not your bullshit programs for illegals, not your sanctuary city bullshit, not for the health care for illegals, and not fighting against voter ID, but that's their voter base, Looney Tunes and illegals. Yeah, no, I mean they're crazy. I mean now they're just. Problem you got now is that, you know, if you sell your house, you got to go to another state, and houses are high all over, but they're not Massachusetts high. But then you got to pay to move. I mean, if you move to another state, it costs a lot of money because you've either got to get rid of everything you got in your house, and if you had your house for any length of time, you got a lot of crap in it. So you either got to haul the crap down to wherever you go, or you got to, sell everything or have a bonfire and then buy all new stuff down there. So it's not an easy thing to do for most people. I mean, some people younger, they're more mobile, they still living in an apartment.
Not only that, you also got to look at the fact that if you go to another state, you may not be able to take your insurance with you. You may not be able to provide the health care you need. Okay? I mean, I know a lot of retirees from the city go to Florida.
No, but Josh is right.
What?
Okay, yeah. I guess it's going up a little bit, but he's right. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, pool, 300K. And Josh is a contractor. He knows that. Listen, yeah. I remember looking at houses down in Florida just for shits and giggles when they talked about those hurricane-proof houses that got walls like about yay thick. It's like, it's like a bomb shelter. Right. And they had a couple of hurricanes, and there was no damage at all in those communities, and all of the houses. And I think a 3-bedroom at the time, and that was a few years ago, the 3-bedroom at the time was like $280,000. You can actually buy a house down there a lot cheaper in Florida. But Florida now is really getting. I mean, a lot of people are moving to Florida. A lot of people are moving everywhere. They're moving to Tennessee. They're moving to Texas. They're moving to South Carolina, North Carolina. A lot of people are moving down south. But there are a lot of people that are stuck here because, you've got all your doctors up here. You're getting older. We got great medical care up at this end of the country. So,
and that's the thing. That's the thing. You have medical care here better than anywhere else in the country. So if you move to Florida and you need medical care, number one, there's no guarantee you're going to get it there. Healthcare down in Florida, I know. I'm licensed in Florida. I've worked in Florida. There are no guarantees of healthcare. There's no guarantee of health insurance. And in Florida, they do come after you for an unpaid medical bill. They attach your house. They attach your wages. They attach your Social Security check. They don't care. There are no protections.
They don't tax pensions in Florida.
No, they don't. Unlike Massachusetts.
No, you're right. You can't look. I mean, the housing, and the irony is that they don't care because, like I said, they're building all this other market rate stuff and they're stuffing full of illegals that they're paying with our money, and we can't, we just can't get a break. And the problem with this state is, it's like this city voted for Trump. I don't know how we ended up. We got to get more people to run for council, and we got to change our government because maybe we can do something locally. Like I said, they will never even consider a tiered property tax, where if you have an owner-occupied building, you pay a lower rate than people who just have 100 different apartments and stuff like that, and they're making a ton of money. They don't live in the city, and they're making all that money. And that came from me, from a guy that's very, very, knows a lot about housing and mortgages and stuff like that. And there are communities that do that. But if you say that in Fall River, they'll put you in front of a firing squad, because you think the city council will ever consider giving people who actually live in Fall River and are not absentee landlords a break? No, they'll give the absentee landlords who take their money and bring it back to Newton and Wellesley and parts unknown, and maybe even other states, and they'll give them TIFs, and they'll give them low interest loans, and they'll give them everything, and we get the barota. That's it. Yeah, and you would know that, Josh, because yeah, but that's the problem, Jeff. You watch what happened to some Republicans, and when Trump isn't on the ballot, they don't come out. Yeah, well, that's the thing about Massachusetts. They don't tax their pensions. My pension does not have to pay mass tax, where a lot of people moved up to Maine, but they do tax your pensions up there. The only state, I think, in New England that doesn't tax your pension is New Hampshire. But New Hampshire has astronomical real estate taxes. They have no sales tax. They don't tax your pension, but their property taxes up there are extremely, extremely high. But that's the only state. If you go down to Tennessee, Texas, these places do not tax your pensions. Florida, and that was a big factor in a lot of people moving to those states. I know people have moved to Tennessee, moved to Texas, moved to Florida. And because they're not going to go there and get their pensions. But it is what it is. But we see Maura coming down, and she's talking about, we're going to build a lot of affordable housing. And I got to give New Bedford credit. They did build some. We built nothing. But that's the problem. Maura doesn't check. She doesn't see. Well, what is affordable housing, Maura? What's affordable to you? How much are you making? How much are you worth? You think somebody, and I heard an interesting statistic, and I don't know how accurate it is, but it was on a national media, that you realize that 40% of the people in this country don't have $400 in the bank. That's a scary thought.
You realize that 75 to 80% of the residents of this country are one paycheck away from homelessness?
Yeah.
One paycheck.
Yep. Yeah, well, I mean, that goes along with that stat that like 40%, that's 4 out of every 10 people.
Right.
And they have less than $400 to their name. So that's basically what you said. One paycheck away from living in a tent or your car. So it's a tragedy. And thank you, Maura Healey, for coming down and filling everybody full of bullshit. So,
well, she went to the right place. She went to New Boston Bakery with Paul, where every political ass kisser goes.
That's right. That's right. If you can't find if you can't find Paul, that's probably where he's going
That's
to
where
be.
he's going to be, kissing someone's ass. I want to thank you all for watching, and remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. We'll see you on Friday. Have a great day.